Welcome to this week's AMT Fresh Produce Overview, your go-to source to the latest price movements, market trends and forward-looking insights. If you're producing, buying or selling fresh produce, you're in the right place. This episode is made possible by Standard Bank, helping you grow every step of the way. So let's dive in. Starting with the market watch again, our biggest gainer for the past week was cucumber prices that surged by about 31% last week, with short-term supply pressures driving this rally. Our biggest loser over the past week was carrots that dropped by more than 13%. Rising volumes and post-Easter demand slowdown contributed to this decline. On our watch list for this coming week is tomatoes. Prices lifted slightly last week due to lower volumes, but be cautious, volumes are expected to rise next week, which could quickly put pressure on prices again. But with that said, let's start off with the latest potato prices. The national average potato price jumped by 11% to 75.07 per 10 kg, with large higher on 97, mediums on 70 and smalls at 48. Mondial and Safra varieties rose to 74 and 76 rand respectively, while Class 1 potatoes averaged on 81 rand 50. Prices are now about 47% higher than last year, with 53% lower volumes reported. The expectation is for potatoes to dip slightly over the next 2 weeks, with more volumes likely to enter into the markets, with the rain giving farmers a gap at the moment. The average onion price increased slightly to 87 rand 12 per 10 kg last week and is now 1% lower compared to a year ago. We are still seeing 44% less volumes on the markets than last year this time. The average brown onion price stayed on 87, red onions increased to 109 rand, while the average white onion price decreased slightly to 91 rand. Large onions traded higher on 94, mediums stayed on 92 and smalls increased to 76 rand. We're still expecting volumes to stay under pressure at least until the end of August, and prices that can therefore remain in this upward trend. I still think that we will see higher prices than last year, with less onions likely to come into the markets this year. Tomato prices increased slightly last week due to 30% lower volumes, with the latest national average price 1% higher on 13 rand 42 per kilogram. This price is now 23% lower than last year this time, with about 30% less volumes compared to a year ago. Large tomatoes traded at 16 rand 50, mediums at 13 rand 94 and smalls on 12 rand 54. We are expecting this price to maintain higher levels this week due to higher end of the month demand, but more volumes and low demand at the start of next week can start to drive prices downward again. Carrot prices dropped by more than 13% to 10 rand 1 cent per kilogram, but is still about 32% higher than last year this time. Large carrots traded on 10 rand 78, mediums on 8 rand 19 and smalls lower on 10 rand 45. We're now expecting more volumes on the markets, which could, coupled with low demand in May, start to drive prices downward as well. The average pepper price decreased by about 3% to 16 rand 72 per kilogram. Green peppers also traded lower on 9 rand 78. Yellow peppers dropped to 35 rand 55, while red pepper prices remained relatively sideways at 28 rand 27 per kilogram. The average price is still 45% higher than last year this time, with the rain impacting the volumes and quality coming into the markets. We're still expecting the price to stay on a lower level during May and June due to more volumes that is likely to enter into the markets over that period. Cabbage prices jumped by 12% to 3 rand 72 per kilogram. Garlic prices increased by 6% to 67 rand 18, with locally produced garlic now 43% up on 73 rand 97, and imported garlic actually dropping to 85 rand 42 per kilogram. Spinach prices decreased by 7% to 8 rand 33 and is still 91% higher than a year ago. Sweet potato prices decreased by 4% to 7 rand 12. Pumpkins decreased by 2% to 3 rand 78. Butternuts increased slightly to 5 rand 32. Green beans increased by 12% to 6 rand 34, while cucumber prices jumped by 31% to 22 rand 42 per kilogram last week. For a deeper dive into these and other market insights, be sure to download our latest reports available for free at amtrends.co.za. Shifting our focus now to the fruit markets, the average banana price traded 1% lower on R10.27 per kilogram or R185 per 18 kilogram box. This price is now 39% higher than a year ago. I think that we can see a slight dip in the price at the middle of May, but that we can also see this price recover again during June and July when less volumes are expected. Apple prices decreased by 1% to R10.01 per kilogram and is now 13% higher than a year ago. I think apple prices can stabilize very soon. The latest pear price traded 1% lower on R8.44 and can also remain on its current levels for now. Orange prices decreased by 3% to R5.15 per kilogram and is now 5% higher compared to a year ago. We are expecting prices to stabilize around these levels now and then possibly dip further from the middle of May to June over that period when we usually see higher volumes. The avo price increased by another 7%, trading on R14.98 per kilogram last week and is now 18% higher than a year ago. Variety-wise, Viertuis increased to R19.42, Haas traded on R10.58 and Pinkertons increased to R13.30 per kilogram. I still think that the avo price can drop down back again during the middle of May and possibly stay around its current levels or slightly below its current levels for now. The average grape price traded 4% lower on R31.98 per kilogram last week. Pineapples increased by 10% to R13.44. Lemons increased by 8% and stopped its decline, trading on R6.21, while blueberries traded 3% lower on R215 per kilogram last week. Our tips for the week is for our carrot growers. With volumes that are increasing at the moment and the market that is softening, we recommend that you sell early to avoid these price drops later in May. For our tomato producers, despite the slight gains this week, rising volumes could quickly reverse this trend, managing picking schedules carefully to avoid oversupply over the next few weeks. For our fruit sellers, capitalize now on strong avocado, pineapple and lemon prices, but plan for a softer market by the mid of May. For all our growers, buyer demand has been erratic post-Easter. Professional sorting, packaging and quality presentation remain your most powerful tool to secure the best prices and price premiums. This episode was proudly brought to you by Standard Bank. For more detailed insights, forecasts and free downloadable tools, visit amtrends.co.za now. I'll put all the links to our social media platforms in the description below. I'm Dr. Johnny van der Merwe. Thanks for tuning in and see you next week.